All right, I wanted to do a video on my table saw and what I've done to it and what I just finished doing. This is a contractor style table saw made by Ridgid. It's called, the model number is a TS2424. I bought this thing probably back in 2001. I think somewhere around 9/11, somewhere in that area. And it's served me well ever since. We're going into 2019 and the thing's still going. What I just finished doing today, and tonight I just finished it, was making a newer Outfeed table for it. And I made it 5 feet long and about 23.5, almost 24 inches deep or wide. I made it out of 3/4 inch particle board, covered particle board. And the way I mounted it, if you're really interested, is I took off the rear fence mounting plate, or whatever you want to call it, for the back of the fence. And then I just put in some 1.5 by 1.5 angle iron with the holes all in it, and affixed that to the cast iron portion of the table saw with some bolts. And then I just took some stock 2x4 material and made up this piece here and mounted it. One of the problems that I had, though, is when you tilt your motor 45 degrees, you run into a problem of it hitting. So I had to do some finagling up in there and stuff, but it does work. What I also liked about this design that I came up with is that you could still wheel it around. It doesn't have legs that extend down to the ground. The thing that supports basically the back half of it is these supports that I made, and then I just tied them right into the base of the saw itself. And then they are adjustable. I took some just some carriage bolts, 1/4 inch carriage bolts with the nylon lock nut, and so you can hold the bolt and tighten or loosen the lock nut, and then, you know, raise or lower the table, whichever way you got to go. So I got 2 of them there. Mounted that in there. And what I also bought a while ago, and I haven't done much with it, is a vise for it. So I put the vise in there, and then I needed to put, I think we call them bench dogs. So I drilled holes all along, about every 6 inches for the whole length of the saw, all the way down. So you can just take your bench dogs out and move them to whatever hole's appropriate for the work you're doing. So they just slip in. I drilled them all the way through so no dust would get in there and clog them up. So that's in there. So the Outfeed table is the newest thing that I've done. And you know what, for a safety aspect, you need to have an Outfeed table. There's just not enough room after you get done cutting your wood, and then everything starts dropping off the back of the saw. Never did like that. So, like I said, I don't think I'll have a problem with this one. It's deep enough. If I got to run anything longer than that, then I'll just put some kind of roller Outfeed out in the distance there. Some of the other things that I've done to this saw, as I put a cast iron leaf on the left-hand side of the saw, and then I use the Incra adjustable router lift in here. I love this thing. So you just crank it up and you're able to adjust your router bits or change your router bits on top of the table. What I had in here before is, it was a pain in the butt because I didn't have a, it was a plunge router. I'd have to, you know, loosen it, push up, check my measurement, all that stuff. So this thing here is just a blessing to have. It was a little pricey. The whole cast iron setup was just for the wing itself, I think, was about $330, and then I had needed to go with the router lift, the Incra router lift, and then I needed to get a nice router in the bottom of that. So I'm probably well over $500-600 just in having a router mounted to the table. My shop's not that big, so that's one of the reasons why I needed to do it on the table saw itself. It's just one less thing that I got to push around the shop and move in or out of my way. So I did that. Basically about it. I put a little paper towel holder there. I extended the extension cord off of this, and then I put an outlet in there. So right now I can run two different things. I can run my saw off of that, and then I can run two different things. One of them is the router, and then the other one is my lathe. Normally next to it is plugged into that. But the thing's, it's a great saw. I recommend Ridgid table saws, or a lot of their other products are just fantastically built, and really haven't had a problem with them. So that's just one of the things I just finished doing in the shop. So again, that Outfeed table for that Ridgid table saw. So it's pretty basic to build. It's not anything fancy. You just had to do a little bit of cutting and measuring and getting it in there. But I just like it because it's got no legs on the bottom. So if I want to move it around, the whole thing will move around. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions, just let me know. Thanks a lot.